And welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Forecast. I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens, and it's Thursday of 4th of July week. It's July 3rd. Tomorrow, it's July 4th. But today we are going to take you into a few items that we usually do on a monthly basis, I should say. The climate report is out for the month of June, so we're going to dive into that, show you what cities saw for temperatures as well as for precipitation and what that means for us moving forward. And then we're going to send it over to meteorologist John Gross, who's going to talk to you about wave periods. What are they? And what does it mean to you? Because actually it's really important. So he's going to talk to you about that because he's been talking about swim risk and swim safety throughout the week. And then we're going to jump into another segment of our Beyond the Forecast live streaming podcast with myself and meteorologist Haley Fischetti. So that's all coming up for you today's show. But before we get to that, let's talk about some fun facts, shall we? It's this day in weather history, July 3rd, 1987. Lightning struck and killed 3 men playing golf in Kingsport, Tennessee. The 3 men had sought shelter from the rain under a tree, under a tall tree on a small hill. And unfortunately, lightning struck and killed all 3 of them. That's this day back in 1987. Never seek shelter under a tree when a storm is moving in. Same when it goes to poles or anything that lightning can strike. If it's not a house or a shelter, do not seek shelter underneath it. All right, trivia time. Yesterday, we wanted to know what temperature is centigrade, Celsius, equal to Fahrenheit. Is it 0 degrees, 32 degrees, 25 below, or 40 below? It's actually 40 below. That is where Fahrenheit meets Celsius, 40 degrees below 0. So there you go, fun fact for you. Today we want to know, what is the fastest speed a raindrop can fall? Is it 10 miles per hour, 23 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, or 15 miles per hour? QR code right there. Hit it with your phone. Take it where you can answer, and then we will have the answer for you on tomorrow's 4th of July episode of Beyond the Forecast. All right, weather word of the day. This new segment that we started implementing last week. Today is doldrums. Have you heard that word? I've heard it, but I didn't know where it came from. So doldrums are a line of light and variable west to east winds, either north or just south of the equator. So just north and south of the equator, there's this little region that has very little to no wind. So sailors dubbed it the doldrums because the lack of wind would mean their ships would stay idle for weeks at a time. So the doldrums are a stretch of very light, basically non-existent winds, and if you sail in there, you ain't moving. So doldrums, weather word of the day for you. All right, viewer photo of the day, brought to us by Great Rooms. This picture today comes to us from Dieter Weiss, and Dieter sent in this amazing roll cloud above Lake Michigan. Now, that is an absolutely gorgeous picture, and I will say that I've seen one go right over me before, and the first time I ever saw it, it was actually pretty creepy because I'd never seen one before. Roll clouds are just like shelf clouds. Essentially, convection and also wind shear aloft create these. As you can see, sunshine on one side and sunshine on the other side. This isn't a storm cloud by any means. It's just where you have convection and wind shear creating that roll cloud. So thank you, Dieter, so much for sending in this amazing picture, and thank you to Great Rooms, as always, for sponsoring that segment. All right, let's get to our show, shall we? Let's send it over to me, and we're going to talk about the latest climate report from June. What were your temperatures like, and what were the showers like? We'll have those details right after the break. And welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Forecast. I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens, and yes, we are now into the 3rd day of July, which means we got the numbers for June. And it's interesting to see because it was the first month of meteorological summer, and not to mention, we came off what was a very average spring. So how did the first month of summer, aka June, look like? Well, we got all the answers for you from the National Weather Service in Gaylord. The National Weather Service in Grand Rapids does not cover or keep track of any of the cities that are in our viewing area because we do have M20 and US 10. but the majority of our viewing area is covered by National Weather Service in Gaylord. So Sault Ste. Marie, Pellston, Gaylord, Alpena, Houghton Lake, Traverse City, all of those cities they keep track of with the official site. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's start off with temperatures. So you will see these graphics on full screen for you, and I will be looking at them here at my beautiful printed paper. Sault Ste. Marie, for the month of June, your average temperature was 61 degrees. Believe it or not, you were right at average for the entire month of June. Your anomaly was -0.2, so that's pretty much average. Your warmest day was 88, and your coldest temp was 35 back on June 2nd. Gaylord, your average temperature was 65.5 degrees, which actually was 3 degrees above average. You were very warm for the month of June. It was the 9th warmest June on record for you. The warmest temp was 94 June 22nd, and the coldest temp was 34 on June 1st. Alpena, your average temperature was 65 degrees, anomaly of 1.7, almost 2 degrees above average. Warmest temperature was 97 degrees on June 22nd and 23rd, and your coldest temperature was 34 on June 2nd. Pellston, your average temperature was 64.4. The anomaly was 2.5 degrees above average. Warmest temperature was 94 degrees on June 22nd, and the coldest temperature was 32 on June 2nd. Houghton Lake, another warm spot. Average temperature was 66.5 degrees for the month of June. Your anomaly was just over 2.5 degrees above average. The warmest temperature was 92 degrees June 22nd. The coldest was 35 on June 2nd. Traverse City, you were 1.8 degrees above average, as your average temperature was 67.4. Your warmest temperature was 94, and your coldest temperature was 35. So all in all, areas to the north, average. Areas farther south, really Gaylord south, you were seeing temperatures above average from anywhere about 1.5 to 3 degrees above average for the month of June. So overall, temperature-wise, it was pretty warm for the month of June, even though you might recall that it didn't start off that way. In fact, it was pretty chilly to start June. All right, let's take a look at precipitation numbers now. Sault Ste. Marie, you observed 3.3 inches of rain, which, believe it or not, you were above average for the month of June. Wettest day was 1 inch of rain on June 21st. Gaylord, at the National Weather Service office, they observed 3 inches of rain. That was actually just a hair below average, at just about 1/4 inch below average. And the wettest day was 1 inch on June 30th. Houghton Lake, you saw 3.18 inches of rain, believe it or not, right at average. And the wettest day was 1.37 inches on June 26th. Alpena, you saw 2 3/4 inch of rain for the month of June. Again, right at average. And the wettest day was 0.79, so 3/4 inch on June 19th. And then Traverse City, you saw just a hair under 5 inches of rain for the month of June. You were actually 2 inches above average for rain. And the wettest day was 1 inch, 1 3/4, almost 1 3/4 inch on June 22nd. And that's probably from those storms that worked their way through. There was a lot of places that saw a lot of rain at the end of June there, so it does not shock me that we were at average or above average when it comes to precipitation. Now, what can you take from these records or this climate report for the month of June for Michigan? Well, it means a few things. One, we're back to where we should be when it comes to moisture in the ground. Drought is not an issue right now in northern Michigan. That is great news. Two, with the spring and into June, the plants are continuing to love our weather right now. Temperatures for the most part right around average to slightly above average. The moisture is there to support it. Our plants, our wildlife, loving these conditions right now. It also means that we're still kind of stuck between La Nina and neutral. More neutral than La Nina, but we are still stuck in the neutral pattern. So if you recall back to a few episodes that we've told you about El Nino and La Nina and those patterns and what they bring to northern Michigan, La Nina is usually on the cooler side with a bit more moisture. El Nino's warmer side, drier conditions. We are in the middle right now, and we're kind of neutral, edging just out of La Nina. So we're in the middle. We're seeing average temperatures for the most part. We're seeing average precipitation for the most part. It's just a few thunderstorms stood out, giving some areas a little bit more rain. But That is why Northern Michigan is pretty much flourishing right now when it comes to your wildlife, your plants, everything out there is enjoying our start to our warmer season. So, how's July going to turn out? Right now, it looks like it's going to be more the same. There doesn't look to be much change from the current pattern that we have until we get closer to fall. And that's when we should either see El Nino kind of kick up late this fall into this winter. But again, we're just enjoying neutral, which basically puts us right where we should be for this time of year. So enjoy it. Yes, the waters are a little bit cooler. That's a con to this pattern because it takes a little bit longer to warm up. We did have winter return this past year, and we had a normal spring going into what is really a normal summer, so the waters are just now starting to get warmer. That's a con. Last year the waters were warm right away. So everything's slowly getting back to where we should be for our neck of the woods. So there you go. Nice little climate report. We'll have more on Beyond the Forecast coming up right after the break.
Hey there, everybody. Meteorologist John Gross. Welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. Today, we're going to continue to talk about the swim risk now that we are getting into the summer months, and you might still have that urge to head off to the beach, to the lake, wherever you might be going, especially focusing in on the Great Lakes. And we're going to go ahead and talk about something that maybe you may or may not have heard of before. We're talking about what we call the wave period. Now, when you're talking about the definition, the wave period is how long you have between the crest of one wave hitting you before the next wave crest arrives. And when you're talking about the Great Lakes, at least compared to what we could experience in the ocean per se, usually those wave periods are a lot shorter, meaning you have less time to recover between waves before the next one comes in and pretty much is right on top of you. So this is in a matter of seconds here in the Great Lakes. So this means waves will hit you more frequently. And at that point, the more you have to deal with, essentially waves at this point, is only going to tire you out more and just make you more susceptible to how high the waves are, if you're talking about strong currents, even if you are an experienced or a strong swimmer. So main takeaway from at least this graphic is the wave period is shorter in the Great Lakes compared to what we would see in a bigger body of water, just say the ocean. So we're talking about more waves more often here in the Great Lakes. And unfortunately, especially in Lake Michigan, Great Lakes, 85% of current-related drowning rescues or fatalities happen when we're talking about those higher waves. So this is a very important topic of discussion. So when we're talking about the swim risk, now we've already mentioned this topic before. We have the three categories. You're talking about the low, moderate, and high. And that's kind of a breakdown on the left of where you're talking about those heights. Low, up to about 2 feet. That's what we want to see when you're heading off to the beach or the lake. Moderate, now you're in around 2 to 4 feet. So for the moderate category, we usually do not recommend swimming in the water. And if you are swimming in the water, we want you to at least be an experienced swimmer or know what to do if you're caught in, say, a rip current or something like that. If it's a high swim risk day, avoid getting in the water altogether. So that's breaking down the swim risk. Here's a few more things that we talk about specifically with waves on the Great Lakes. So waves on the lakes, they're mainly wind-driven. So when we talk about the winds and we use the term onshore, that's what we're talking about. Literally, the wind is pushing the water onshore. And if the wind is stronger, then you're overall going to have some of those higher waves. So leading into the next bullet point, when you're talking about those waves, they are usually associated with a higher wave period. Like we just talked about, that is the time between one wave crest and then the next wave crest coming in and impacting or just making contact with you if you're in the water. So if you get hit by a wave, you may only have seconds before that next wave comes in, especially in the Great Lakes, because we were talking about that wave period being shorter. So you're talking about anywhere from around 3 to even near 5 seconds before that next wave comes in and impacts you and can overall tire you out and just make you more susceptible to the conditions out on the water. So that's taking a look at wave period, especially here on the Great Lakes. And like we've talked about before, with the swim risk, we want the low. We do not want the high. Experienced swimmers only should go in for the moderate, but when you're talking about that swim risk, again, that's all part of what we call the surf zone forecast. That is done specifically by the National Weather Service. Great tool to use. I use it myself. If it's going to be a beach day, lake day, check in with where you're going. Make sure that the conditions are right and safe so you and your loved ones, your family, whomever you might be going with to the beach, can overall enjoy a nice summer day, especially here in northern Michigan. I'm meteorologist John Gross reporting for Beyond the Forecast.
Thanks, John. Now, coming up next, we're going to have another segment from our Beyond the Forecast live streaming podcast right after the break. And welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Forecast. I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens, and every Tuesday at 10 a.m., meteorologist Haley Fischetti and I sit down and we have our live streaming Beyond the Forecast podcast, where we talk with you about weather stuff. We do get sidetracked sometimes. It's really just sitting down and talking to you all about questions or just things that are happening or that might have happened. That's all weather-based. So this past Tuesday, we sat down, talked a little bit about summer, talked more about the heat. Which do you prefer, dry heat or mugginess? And then we also talked about something we recognize, the bugs. I haven't seen the bugs this year, like normal. Usually every year this time, I have June bugs on my steps, I have mayflies. I have not seen any of them. Now, is it just me? Or is it everywhere in northern Michigan? Is it because we have a normal spring now? Or is it because the cooler or warmer air we've seen the last few years is now cooler? Man, I'm boggled. But this is what we were talking about.
Bugs, man. I haven't seen them this year, which is great.
Yeah. That being said, Spencer and I had a cricket in our
Maybe it's
bathroom last night.
Oh, that would drive Kyle insane.
Well, I saw it there and I had Spencer dispose of it.
Oh, you don't like crickets?
Well, no, I didn't want to hear the cricket noise. I was very...
You made him search and find it?
No, it was right in our bathroom floor. And I was
It's
like,
out in the open?
I was like, what?
Usually they hide.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? And he goes, it's a cricket. And I went, get rid of it. So he put it outside.
Have you ever heard of cricket before?
I have, yeah, but I just looked at I didn't want to get up close to it. It looked like just like a black bug on the ground.
It's like a grasshopper.
Now knowing that it was a cricket and like knowing what it looked like, I was like, yeah, you're right, that is a cricket.
Dude's
But
just
when
chilling in your bathroom, rubbing his legs together.
I got home from the concert. It was past my bedtime. I was like, I gotta go to bed immediately. And I see this black thing on the floor and I'm like, Spencer, get rid of it. It's a cricket. Put it outside though.
My mom, I don't know if she's deathly afraid, but she doesn't like crickets. And in the basement, when the house that I grew up in Cadillac, we would get crickets in our basement. Mm-hmm. And one night, she was down there watching TV or something, and she could hear the cricket. And she looked over, and it was on her shoulder. Oh, she flipped.
Yeah, that would trip me out.
But I don't mind crickets. Crickets are...
I mean, they don't bother me. They're just kind of scary.
I always use them for fish bait. So I'm on a hook. Throw them in the water.
Yeah, all right.
Fish love them. So yeah, I haven't, now that you mention it, I haven't heard crickets this year either.
I have. In Traverse City, they're alive.
They're alive and well.
They're alive and well in TC.
I'm trying to think of anything that, I've seen a few butterflies.
I have seen butterflies too. Seen some hummingbirds. Seen a lot of different birds
But yeah, I think,
pop around.
I know our plants have loved it. Bugs, I don't know.
I
But
don't know either. We don't even know how tadpoles are born, how toads are born. So I guess it comes to the animals.
I'm sitting here struggling to think that, like, I was never taught how a toad was born. It's not a frog.
No.
Frogs are tadpoles. They live in water.
So there you go. And if you have noticed that, let us know. Whether it's on the 910 News YouTube channel or Facebook, where we have the live streaming podcast that you can watch every Tuesday. Let us know in those comments, because some people said they've seen the bugs. I can honestly say I have been pretty much bug-free so far this summer. So, crazy. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a one-off. Who knows? But for meteorologist John Gross, meteorologist Haley Fischetti, I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens. If we don't see you tomorrow, back here at 4:30 on your 4th of July, have a wonderful and safe holiday. And we'll catch you next Monday. But if you're going to be joining us tomorrow, 4:30, right here, doesn't matter, it's still 4th of July, we'll be here. We'll catch you then. Be good, stay safe, take care, enjoy your holiday and also the holiday weekend. Take care, everybody.